Oh, sweet Lord in heaven, here we are. Here we are to talk about the children of the atom. Who are we? Me am DJ. With me, as always, to talk about X-Men and Spider-Man if you're on Patreon. Sal, hi Sal.
Hey, what's up, man?
We were just having a pretty good conversation about while we were waiting to go live about the multiverse. Do you ever have the debate of when what conversations or is it good to be on the air for?
Yeah.
It's tough because so much of our lives is content.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
There's so much you could be recording, but you also need to go some of that's just for me. It
Yeah,
has
yeah,
to.
yeah.
I can't monetize every minute of my life because
It's an audience of one. It's just for us to have.
yeah, sometimes I think
ever.
I think I envy phonies who go "Oh man, I love X-Men. It's going to be great."
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the game.
Yeah. I was reading an article of they were complaining about I guess movie TikTok, which is so I don't know if you're aware of this. Apparently, I'm finding out this is becoming more of a thing because of obviously the strikes and everything. You're learning about this stuff. There's people on TikTok that get paid $30,000 just to say the new Marvel movie's good. What the? Yeah, I will sell out in a second for that gig. Are you kidding me?
It's amazing because for the longest time, I bet as long as you have been online,
yeah,
as long as you have been recording yourself online, there has been this prevalent theory that we're shills and that Marvel, DC, Warner Brothers, Disney, Sony, everybody is paying us to have opinions. And
if I don't like a Marvel movie, Warner Brothers is paying me. If I don't like a DC movie, Disney's paying me.
Exactly. And it's that is such a joke and it's so stupid and there's no way that's in any way real.
Yeah.
And now it is.
Now it is, man. And it's wait, all I have to do is pretend that Quantumania was a good movie and you'll pay me $30,000?
Yeah. I'll do that once.
I have my standards, but also I need to pay my mortgage payment. All right.
Exactly. But I have a threshold.
Yeah. God.
Let's find it together, Disney.
Yeah, let's figure it out.
Let's just suss it out. Come on.
It's also do you think? I mean, there will always be people. You can't pay enough TikTokers. I believe this? I was going to say you can't pay enough TikTokers to make people like a movie, but I do honestly believe a lot of Marvel's early success is two primary things. It's a lot of things, but two things we don't talk enough about. One, casting.
Yes.
Similar to the success of the Bruce Timm Paul Dini animated
voice
universe.
Casting. Yeah.
Yeah, the voice casting was so key to that. The casting decisions, even now, because I'll watch something like Miss Marvel that it may be half of a good show.
Yep.
But the actress that plays Miss Marvel plays Kamala, fucking great. Would I like to hear more things? Great. And that papers over a lot of stuff.
Totally.
The other thing is that I think we underestimate is, and maybe I'm a cynical jerk, right? I don't, whatever. I'm picky, but I think you'll see a movie and everybody's talking about it, but they're talking about it the same way they were talking about when they saw the trailer, and it made me think of is it Mark? Is it you're told you're gonna like this?
Yes,
and then you go in and whoa, wait, I like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what that is? I think that's it's what's one part you having a vested financial investment in it being good and it continuing and propagating and you wanting to like it. I think there's another element to it, and it's something we never talk about anymore. The you want fries with that ification of movies and media.
Yeah.
Because if you ever noticed, for the longest time, I'd say for as long as I've been alive, when you go to a McDonald's, and I haven't been in one in 20 years, which you can believe it, but you are not asked, would you like fries with that?
Yeah.
The line was, you want fries with that, with a question mark at the end. It's a way of subtly being you want fries with that.
Yeah.
And I will give them to you if you simply give me the safe word. And it's
exactly.
That's
do you want to upsize that?
Supersize it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to supersize that.
Yeah.
But it's never do you. It's you want to do this. And I think that's what these trailers are. They're you will like this. Go see it and confirm what you already enjoyed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's an interesting alchemy.
Yeah.
in the world that we live in that doesn't seem to be quite as effective, which I think is broadly a positive thing. If broadly, we're kind of reaching the limits of this stuff, but listen, man, we're not there yet. Right now, we're back in, if you can teleport your mind back to 2011, the year of the release of Captain America, the First Avenger, and Thor, the first Thor movie.
Wow.
And this was the year that we're 2 years after X-Men Origins Wolverine, which, by the way, man, they turned this ship around quick. They turned it because there's no way this movie wasn't in some form of pre-production when X-Men Origins Wolverine was coming out, and they're like, "Oh my god, we need to rethink everything right now."
I have to assume, because I remember like the plan was it was X-Men Origins Wolverine and X-Men Origins Magneto. Those were the two movies that were planned and prepared for and ready to go. Not that Magneto was ready to go in terms of they were shot it, but they still wrote it. I, back in the day, pre-YouTube, wrote a script review for it before it happened. Got my first cease and desist as a result. And which confirms
many more to come.
Many more to come. But it also confirmed like that script was real.
Yeah.
And they sure did take that Magneto movie and go, can we make it into just a full-fledged X-Men movie? And also kind of like soft reboot, because we screwed up twice now. We made a bad X-Men movie and a bad Wolverine movie. Oh no, what do we do now?
Yeah. And so we've got a major course correct here. By the way, thank you for everybody joining us live. If you want to listen to the audio version of this, you can do it over, like if you just like listen to audio podcasts, which is how I listen to a lot of my podcasts on iTunes or whatever, you can do that over at patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. Also, super chat, if you want us to read your beautiful words on the screen for everybody to see, you can do that with a super chat. Hello, please, and thank you. Now, so this is X-Men First Class 2011, directed by Matthew Vaughn, who was originally in talks to do Last Stand and dropped out of that. Or what I found out, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's a later segment. I'm sorry, everybody. This was written by Ashley Miller, Zach Stentz, Jane Goldman, and Matthew Vaughn, with a story by Bryan Singer and Sheldon Turner. A lot of cooks in this kitchen.
Yeah, and it shows.
In the 1960s, superpowered humans, Charles Xavier and Eric Lensher, worked together to find others like them, but Eric's vengeful pursuit of an ambitious mutant who ruined his life causes a schism to divide them. On Rotten Tomatoes, this has an 86% with an audience score of 87%. Very close.
Yeah.
Just the audience has to get in there like, we got to make it a little bit higher. We always like it just a little bit more.
Yeah, that's true.
With a strong script, stylish direction, and powerful performances from its well-rounded cast, X-Men First Class is a welcome return to form for the franchise. So, Sal, we're going to get into the synopsis here, but when I first saw this movie, I remember liking it a lot. I partially wonder if part of that was the past two movies just being that bad.
Yeah. I know that definitely affected a lot of audience members. I strongly enjoyed most elements to this movie, but when it dips or slips up, it slips up on and lands on its face.
Yeah.
Like in a kind of, and I don't blame most of the people working on this movie. It's just one of those Hollywood things. It's like there's always some guy like a Phantom of the Opera, like hanging on the rafters with a rope ready to swing in, and then like El Kabong the filmmakers and go, don't forget this is a dumbass comic book movie and you got to make it silly as fuck. Like, I don't know what their problem is, and it's like there's it's Act 3 end of the movie moments where I'm like, what is this? Like, what are you doing? And it's just because there's moments in here where you're like, yeah, this is awesome. Or like, oh, I'm having fun. And it's working in its initial premise. And then it'll just get really goofy really fast. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
like,
we'll get into that. We'll get into that more. But it was interesting. Like, it's a lot sillier than I remember. But you're right in that there are moments where it's like, this really works. Like, this is really, really good. And it's like, this is why I remember it so fondly. I remember these moments.
Yep.
And they really stick with me. So let's dive in.
Please.
Reopened in Poland, 1944. We're back in Auschwitz.
That was the first time we engendered like goodwill from the audience. Let's just do it again.
Yeah, let's just do it again. And not as good but also we're adding to it. Like we're just hold on real quick. We'll get there. We're adding something new to this. And again, it just kind of okay. So we live in a post Oppenheimer world where like every week I see a new article that's like, how come Oppenheimer didn't show Japanese people's skin melting off? And it's like, I don't know. Would that have been good? Would that have been, or would that have been exploitative? Like, I kind of feel like the movie handled it in a responsible way where like, it feels like people got out of the movie and thought the movie was telling them Oppenheimer was good. And it's like, what movie did you see?
Dude, that is just the new world order we live in, where people are like, I watched a thing that is like decidedly anti-fascist, and I got like a fascist dog whistle out of it. Like, I don't know what it is, but like people are getting the wrong lessons out of things faster and more intensely than they ever did before.
And it just, I bring that up because it makes me like I feel like you with something as so momentous is not the right word, but like I'm trying to think of something as big, like just one of the worst things in fucking human history as the Holocaust, and you stick it in your superhero movie. It's like you run the risk of like sanitizing it just by the nature. This is like even like something like Schindler's List that's R-rated. It's like you run the risk of like it's the harrowing human sorrow here. You run the risk of trivializing it. I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying every time I see it, it's like you're running the risk of it.
Yeah. They toe the line. The line. It's amazing because it's okay. In X-Men, we're like, yes, they went to Auschwitz. That was hardcore. In Captain America, no, he never liberated any Jews.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
But nobody ever goes like, it's kind of problematic that Captain America never actually liberates any camps.
Yeah.
Nobody. We're just like, yay, Captain America.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It's tricky, and it's tricky. But so with that example, props to X-Men because it is one of those that like, because I think we've run into a problem where Nazi was just shorthand for a bad guy, and so like a lot of the edgelords were like, well, I want to be edgy, so Nazi, and it's like, well, Nazis were bad guys for a few very specific reasons,
right? It's one thing to cosplay as an Imperial officer, or Darth Vader, and it's another to like put a swastika anywhere near your body.
Yeah. So props to X-Men for at least being like, hey, here's one of the specific ways Nazis were very not good people.
Right.
Meanwhile, over in Westchester, young Charles is not dealing with any of this. He's dealing with a little shape-changing blue girl that sneaks into his home. What is your understanding of that? So for those that didn't see the movie, I don't know why you're listening to this if you haven't, but little baby Charles comes down and his mom's in the kitchen and he's like, wait, my mom only sends servants into the kitchen. And he can read minds, so he knows that it's a shape changer and it's young Mystique. A little unclear about the age difference. It's not that far apart, but then characters treat it as if there is a pretty significant one.
Yep.
And then Mystique lives with him. What happens after this?
He keeps her like a pet.
Gross. Okay. All right. Fine. So
I think that's how they treat it. The Jennifer Lawrence in the room needs to be addressed because this plot wouldn't exist if Jennifer Lawrence wasn't cast as Raven. But also, they cast her as Raven in this, and we don't have a Jennifer Lawrence yet. Like we're like, I think that at this time they're like, okay, I think we can explain, like we can also explain like the origins of like the deep connection between Magneto and Mystique. For some reason, and directly connect her to Xavier, despite the fact that she coldly and without remorse in any way whatsoever sabotages Cerebro and hurts him really badly to the point of near death. And there doesn't seem to be any history, but that's par for the course in X-Men franchise movies, where it's like, oh look, it's Sabretooth, and he doesn't seem to remember the entire movie they shared.
Yeah. We love it. Maybe she got shot in the head with an adamantium bullet. So. Anyway, she lives, I guess is now Charles's pet. So back in Germany, Eric meets Sebastian Shaw, played, of course, by Kevin Bacon.
That was an interesting. I could not believe they cast Kevin Bacon. I was like, because I don't know, for some reason I've always noticed that like Kevin Bacon has kind of been like almost like he was retired by Hollywood. Like, well, it seems a little too on the nose if we just cast Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
But like, why don't you? He's great.
Yeah, so one of the things, and we'll talk about this more later, I think, but like one of the things I noticed with the X-Men movies in general so far, as we really look at them, is they really struggle to juggle all of the characters. And so what you get is a few standouts.
Yes.
Kevin Bacon is one of them in this movie.
Yeah,
he is pulling his weight in this movie. So anyway, he tries to distinguish himself, basically saying he's not a Nazi. I guess he's just working with them to fucking poke and prod people, which is fucking gross.
Yeah.
And he asked Eric to move this coin. Pay attention to that. And we'll come back later to try, because this is post Eric moving the gates and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So he brings Eric's mom in to shoot her if he doesn't move the coin. Eric is not able to. He shoots his mother. Shaw shoots his mother. Eric flips out. There's a really great reveal that there's like a torture room in the office, and he flips out and he messes up a bunch of stuff. Most notably, he crushes some soldiers' helmets onto their head. It's a pretty satisfying, satisfying sequence. It's like
every Magneto revenge scene is great.
Yes, yeah, it's pretty great. And again, Kevin Bacon does a fantastic job, because Shaw is a total maniac in this scene. Like he's just stoked. He's like, fuck yeah, this guy's this Magneto kid, he's gonna go far.
Yeah, that's true.
And he lets Eric keep the coin. Mistake one.
Here, take a totem of your rage.
Exactly.
You can use it against me.
Yeah, hold on to this. Remember it for later. 1962. We're now at in the what is the present of this movie, which is our past, and James McAvoy is now playing Professor Xavier. Fucking great. Again, I think the this is what these movies nail. I keep jumping ahead. We have a whole analysis section, but the movies, I'll save it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll save it. Anyway,
make sure to write it down.
Yeah, Charles is flirting with Annabella Wallace. If you've watched Peaky Blinders, she's in that show. If you haven't watched Peaky Blinders, fucking get on that shit, man. It's
true.
And you've seen Oppenheimer, you're like, oh, Cillian Murphy's better than I thought. Fucking watch Peaky Blinders, my guy.
No,
it's so good
already. Yeah, it's true.
It's so good. Raven is jealous because I guess we're supposed to assume she has a thing for Charles, and he's not. Man, a lot of people have hangups about Mystique that I would not have. Just being candid with you, it's like there's a scene later where she's like, oh, I think it's later after this scene, like, would you date me in my blue form? Yeah. Why wouldn't I? What are you talking about?
In a second. You're either Rebecca Ramine or Jennifer Lawrence. Either way, I'm in.
I'm in. And then on top of that,
blue?
You can become anything. Like, literally, there's no bad options here. I don't know why everybody has a hang up about this. It's confusing to me.
I agree. It's confusing.
It's not like fucking, what's his name? I always forget. In the later runs, the big glob of goo.
Oh, glob. Yeah.
Glob. There'd be issue. I'm just saying I don't even know.
I'm not going to, I would not have an intimate relationship with him. And it would be because of my hangups on physical,
Exactly. There's something, or beak. There's
or
stuff.
beak. Yeah, I'm not making out
back there.
Exactly. Sorry.
Mystique, no issues. None. Zero.
Especially since it's all out on Front Street, you're like, well, I know exactly what we're working with here.
Yes. So, Eric uses Nazi gold to get in a room with a Nazi banker, and he's trying to find these other Nazis, and he hanks out the guy's shilling. Again, Sal said it. It is true. All of Eric's Nazi revenge shit's fucking dope.
Yep, and it's all from the X-Men Origins Magneto movie, by the way.
Great. I love it. It almost makes me. I like this movie, but it's almost like I would watch a whole movie of just that shit.
Trust me. No, dude, the other movie was dope. It was just Magneto killing Nazis. Like, Professor X worked with the Allies. He fought with the Allies and liberated Magneto's camp. And then the two of them worked together to hunt Nazis. Like, that's the movie. And Magneto's like, I'm killing Nazis. And Charles like, I'm looking for mutants. Like, that was the movie. It's like, that's a really cool movie.
Well, and also the one way that it helps here is that the three characters that matter in this movie are Charles, Eric, and Shaw. Which I don't know if Shaw was in that, but I'm assuming there was a villain. And so, like,
it wasn't Shaw, but it was a villain. Like, there was a Nazi.
Yeah. Moira McTaggart is played by Rose Byrne, is investigating the Hellfire Club, which they suspect might be communists.
Oh no.
Oh no. And she sneaks in. This is a stretch, by the way. This is.
Oh, I know the lingerie sequence.
Yeah, it's like, sorry, Rose Byrne, you didn't need to do this.
Yeah, it's like that moment in Star Trek Into Darkness where we're just like, yeah, just she's gonna change her clothes real quick in the shuttlecraft. It's like,
Yeah.
why?
Why? I mean,
It's like
yeah,
because
I mean,
Alice Eve is awesome. That's
yeah.
why, because we want to
And
see that.
listen, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'm just saying.
But I'm like, that's so like, it's Star Trek. I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean,
Yeah, Voyager. I know.
Star Trek does like does like a.
It's a horny show.
It's a horny show, but it's not in that way. I think we can agree, not in that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, she sneaks into the Hellfire Club in her lingerie as part of the quote unquote entertainment, and she overhears Shaw coercing a general to put nukes in Turkey. That's right. Shaw's going to be one that engineers the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Okay, all right, that's a neat idea. He's a bad guy.
Yeah, to create a Holocaust that mutants will survive. That, like we talked about when we talked about Pride X-Men, seem real confident about that in a way that I'm not sure I would be.
Yeah.
Like nuclear Holocaust, mutants will be A-okay. It's like, are you sure about that?
Right? Yeah. What about the ones who can like make only wings or something? Like it doesn't seem like they'd be.
There's
but
there's a girl here that has bug wings and shoots acid spit. I'm not sure she'll survive the nuclear Holocaust.
I don't know if she has immunity to nuclear radiation. But at the same time, we do say, I think, in this movie where it's like maybe the like atomic age did usher it, like it accelerated the mutation thing we have going on here. So maybe let me tell you something really weird. You may recall they established in the comics that mutants can't get AIDS.
Good.
Yeah, it's just a natural byproduct of being a mutant. I think they've retconned that out ever since. Like, but there was this window of time where they were like, oh, and they can't get AIDS either.
What was that? Like 80s, 90s?
90s. And and I was like, what? So maybe like, no, and you have your mutation, which is like being blue or fur or wings, and you're immune to radiation, like Skrulls.
Yeah, like Skrulls. I think the other one you could get away with is like a blanket. The one that they might want to consider introducing is every mutant, baseline mutants age slower than humans.
They have to.
You know what I mean? Just that's why Magneto's still around. That's why, you know what I mean? Just a blanket. Like we just age, just generally every mutant. Obviously, you got your Wolverines, and also I think we've established at this point Mystique's also been around quite a bit. Sure, whatever. But like blanket, Professor X, he also ages slower. Everybody just ages slower.
Yep, they age slow until they don't, and then they age all at once about like a month before their next adventure.
Exactly. So, anyways, Shaw courses to put the nukes in Turkey. Morrissey's Emma Frost. Use her Dynaform, and Azazel teleports the general to the Pentagon, which is they're a little loosey goosey with Azazel's teleportation abilities.
They sure are.
Scope of them. And so now she decides she needs to find an expert in genetic mutation. Who could that be? So meanwhile, Eric goes to Argentina. For you history nerds out there, a lot of Nazis went and fled to South America.
Right, that's right. Yeah, that was one of those things where it was like I was the DiCaprio meme where I pointed to the screen and went, "I knew that." Oh.
Yeah. Also, there was a time before that. There was a, back in the day where Europeans just thought they could like trade nations in the New World like Pokemon cards, like it was theirs or whatever. There was like for a hot second there was like a German emperor of Mexico that they killed right quick. But I think I'm not speaking out of term here, but that's why like you'll notice a lot of like Mexican like mariachi music and stuff like Mexican folk music has parallels to like polka. It's that overlap.
Interesting.
Weird relationship with Mexico's not South America, but you know what I mean, like the Latin American countries,
Latin influence,
and Germany. Charles, I'm sorry, I don't want to gloss over the scene. It's fucking great. Just Magneto fucking kills these fucking Nazis.
In a scene that I'm like, this is so you saw Inglourious Bastards. You really like that movie because
that's why they listen. They saw Hunger Games and they're like, Jennifer Lawrence, she's a thing. And this is back when you could do that shit like dependably. Like, Jennifer Lawrence is going to be a thing. Let's do that. And
let's lock her in.
I guess it's always because they tried to make Taylor Kish a thing, and that was a bomb. So I guess there's always been a coin toss. But this movie nailed it. They're like, Jennifer Lawrence, she's going to be a thing. Michael Fassbender, they saw him in Glorious Bastards. Like, well, we got to get. Obviously, this is the guy we're getting to be Magneto. If we don't get him for Magneto, we don't have a movie.
Yeah, no, completely. And they're right, by the way. Like everyone's really good in this movie, but he's great.
Yeah.
And but for me, I was like, this is just the basement scene, but not as good.
Listen, if we're comparing it to the basement scene in Glorious Bastards, that's not fair. I'm comparing it to other X-Men movies, Sal, and in that comparison, it's fucking great. It's one of the better ones.
And I loved it. Like, listen, when I'm like, this is great. And and I already knew that Michael Fassbender could speak fluent German because I saw him do it in the last movie. But I need
to watch Glorious Bastards again. That movie's great.
It may be Tarantino's finest film.
It's tough. There's a stiff competition. I also think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think my only issue with Inglourious Bastards is I think it's a little long. I think it's a little. There's some stuff that like scenes like that scene. The basement scene's great, but especially once we start getting into the card game, it's like I feel like, and maybe it's my instinct, feel like the scene's dragging a little bit. I feel like we're doing one beat too many.
I hear exactly what you're saying. I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is less judicious when it comes to the long scenes. I cite the 20-minute long driving scene.
That's a really great point, and I think for me, so it must be like a preference thing. I think I feel it less because in my brain I'm like, oh, this is a hangout movie,
right.
We do in a hangout movie, and so I'm fine with that. Whereas in my brain, this is Inglourious Bastards. This is a Dirty Dozen movie, so I'm expecting to be a little bit punchier. That's a really good point because the only one that I feel like I think most people will probably be on board with me when I say is Hateful Eight is a little. We could have tightened that one up.
Hateful Eight for me isn't great. Like it's great up until like the middle, and then I'm like, I can pretty much turn it off. Yeah, like that's how much I don't care for the end.
I think I agree with you in that I think it might be my least favorite of his movies.
It has quickly become. I thought Death Proof was my least favorite, especially because of like the long, like Reservoir Dogs-esque girls chatting about movies I'll never see in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And because I remember in the theater being like, this scene, how long is this scene? Is it 25 minutes long? And I saw Death Proof like maybe a year ago, and that scene came up. I'm like, here's where the wheels come off, and it was like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
I was like, wow. Oh,
I do think, and that might just be it benefits watching those movies independently,
big time.
You know what I mean? As opposed to like
Planet Terror and Death Proof.
Yeah, especially since Planet Terror was the first in that double feature. Planet Terror rips, and it just fucking
it sure does.
And so like, and then you get to Death Proof, and it's like, oh shit, like it's a different vibe because I really like Death Proof. This isn't a Tarantino podcast. Maybe we'll do that one.
Maybe
of those.
We'll have to do that.
Yeah. I also like Isn't Glorious Best. I like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I also really like Django.
Django's great too. Again, with Django, I'm like, there are parts where I'm like,
a sleeper that I don't think enough people talk about is Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown's really good. I think Jackie Brown is. When you're my generation, a lot of us caught up on Tarantino stuff in college. You're like, Jackie Brown, this isn't like Pulp Fiction.
That was
you get a little older, you revisit Jackie Brown, you're like, wait, this is fucking great. This movie's
it's good. It's really good, and it's endlessly watchable. No, we were expecting Pulp Fiction 2.
Yeah.
And it was not.
Yeah. And listen, props to Tarantino for being like, well, I guess I'm done with that. But after Pulp Fiction, I'm like, guess I'm done with that now. Here's everything else. Here's Kill Bill, man.
Kill Bill. Whoa. Like seeing Kill Bill in the theater, I'm lucky I did.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So Eric kills a lot of Nazis. It's a great scene. The one thing you need to take out about it is one of the Nazis was like, we were just following orders. That will become incredibly important later.
Yeah, big time.
Used very effectively in this movie. So Charles tries to use the same mutation spiel on Moira that he was using on this girl earlier to flirt. She's not having it. She cuts right through it. He reads her mind, sees Emma Frost and Azazel and all that shit. He's like, I'm going to help. They go to, the general guy who this guy plays a general and everything. I think he played Lois Lane's dad in one of like Super or something.
Yeah.
He was in 24. He's just general guy. Like,
Guy.
yeah, he's
Well,
just general guy.
it's funny. They do that. They do that a couple times in this movie where I'm like, what a weird, obvious, terrible. Like, you just put that on a piece of paper and then get somebody who's like that. You know, like when they were talking about how like She-Hulk, they're like, we're looking for an Allison Brie type, and I'm like, why don't you just cast Allison Brie then?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, but like that's what they do. They write down like the name of the person they want, but for less than the name that they have.
Yeah,
And I think that the Tatiana Maslany, I believe, she did a nice job with She-Hulk, but like Allison Brie, I would have been like, oh, I would have forgiven a lot of this show if that were the case.
Listen, man, I like She-Hulk. I think She-Hulk.
I like She-Hulk too. I like it enough. I like it enough. Not I wanted to love it, and I was really hyped for that show. But
yeah, we got a lot of also like Michael Ironside's in here.
Michael Ironside, and that is where Michael Ironside is the thing where I go, you are lazy.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I like to call pulling an Ironside, where it's like you go, we need like a general, but we need a guy, like you know, like Michael Ironside.
Yeah, Michael Ironside.
And they're like, so cast Michael Ironside? No, don't cast Michael Ironside. That will show our hand. That'll show what we're trying to do, because what we need to do with that guy. Really quick a tangent about the ending, but like that guy. We need to know that he is a bastard, but we need to instantly recognize him so that we can be on board for what he's doing, but also disagree with his decisions. Like, we need to know everything about his character without actually knowing anything about his character, because we have no time to build a character.
Yeah.
And
also, as we're talking about general guys, we got James Remar. Who also did a general guy stint, very effective general guy stint in Oppenheimer recently.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Wow.
He's the guy that's like, well, we can't bomb Kyoto. I had my honeymoon in Kyoto. Okay, so General goes to get money for this whole scheme from Shaw, and he's hip to it. He's like, these guys are going to betray me. So he's like, I got a grenade, and this is a fantastic opportunity for Shaw to show his abilities, which I was always confused about in the comics. And I think the movie does a pretty effective job of he absorbs kinetic energy and then kind of release it. Is that pretty much the way it is? Sorry, I'm not hip to my Shaw lore.
You know, I've seen a lot of Shaw in the Krakoa era of X-Men nowadays, but I also have never seen him use his powers. I think that is his abilities. I vividly remember him using those abilities in the X-Men animated series.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Ooh, where could that have come from? Yeah, so anyway, it's tough. Those are tough. The other tricky one is like Bishop. Like, I absorb energy and shoot. Man, that's
the same thing.
That's it's a tricky one. All right, so anyway, he absorbs the grenade and then like blows up the general, which you think would like raise some red flags, but whatever.
Definitely.
I guess we're not going to look into our 5-star general that just vanished the other day in the middle of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Well, we do know that we know that's a standard operating procedure thanks to X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah.
You know, like they killed that guy. What's General Stryker killed a general senator or something like that?
Got a pit of generals somewhere that we don't look into it too hard.
No, I wouldn't.
Listen, man, for some of these UFO theories flying around, that would have to be true. Like, we just have to have a pit of generals, I guess, that nobody ever asks about. Anyway, we're not going to get into that tangent again.
Nope.
So Charles meets with the CIA, and speaking of Stryker, there is a director Stryker in there who has a son named William, which makes me have questions of like, wait, how old is William Stryker supposed to be if he's a kid when Professor X is visiting?
He's older in this than his actor.
No, but
in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
This is his dad.
What?
Yeah, this is William Stryker's. This is Brian Cox's dad.
That's right. Jason is his son's name.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I thought that was
guess
just a screw about Strikers, but
no. Is William Stryker in? They say his son. In my brain went kid, but I'm like, well, no, but he's the same age as Professor X and Magneto.
Yeah.
Is he in college? How old is?
Well, he does say he's thinking about his son, so we don't know if it's a kid or not. I guess he's just thinking about him.
Yeah. Anyway, this is a proto Stryker. So Charles decides this is a good time to reveal him and Raven's abilities. Does not go over well.
He is an idiot in this movie. Can we say that?
Yeah.
Like, he is the most naive. Like, like, I understand the motivation of like liking Magneto more than Professor X.
Yeah.
But if you're telling a story where you're like, there are two narratives. There's this guy and this guy. don't make Professor X a dumbass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, like naivete is like a dirty word in this universe.
Yeah.
And he is just like, yeah, here's the thing. And they're like, we're going to kill you.
Yeah.
And he's just like, okay. We're like, what?
Yeah, we're going to black site your ass.
Yeah.
So they're escorting him out. Basically, shenanigans ensue. There's a little game. They get away. They drive off with
Oliver
Platt, who looks like he's going to
for this movie.
Huh?
Who's too good for this movie, I think.
It looks like he's going to factor in more than he does.
He sure does. Yeah. There's got to be like 3 deleted scenes where Oliver Platt is really important.
He doesn't. His character doesn't even have a name. It's just like guy in suit. It's like, all right.
Yeah, guy in suit. They're like, man in black suit. That's
So they're gonna basically. So now we cut to Eric is sneaking onto Shaw's boat to kill him, but Emma shuts him down with her psychic abilities. The Coast Guard shows up with Charles and Oliver Platt and all them. Charles can't get into Shaw's brain because Emma's there. We find out this is his first interaction with another telepath.
Mm.
Wind Guy. I never learned Wind Guy's name. I think it's something stupid like Riptide.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It should be like Tempest. Like that's what this guy should be named.
Yeah, Riptide.
What? Maybe I'll save this for the analysis. But the question, put a pin in this, Sal.
Yeah.
What was the decision making behind what showed up in this movie?
Anything.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was like we just invented them, and then after we were done writing the script, we just went through the archives and was like, is there a mutant that does the thing we invented in
it? Feels like
there is. Make it that one.
Choose the characters that nobody likes or knows about.
Yeah,
we'll let you have Charles, Magneto, Mystique, and a Beast.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
Right. The characters we have no plans for and will not be using in any sequels.
Yes. Anyway, so Wind Guy kicks up a storm that throws boats around and shit. There's a submarine beneath the boat. Shaw's escaping. Magneto tries to like lift up the sub, but he can't do it. And so Charles dives in and saves him by calming his mind.
Yep.
They're all taken to a covert CIA research base, which is fucking huge. That shit's not covert as shit. The satellite, you could see that thing from space. The
100%.
Massive.
Yeah, I agree.
God damn. All right. So Oliver Platt is making a mutant division. He's already got Hank working there on SR-71 Blackbird. And Charles, once again, being a goof, just fucking outs Hank. Like, oh, you're a mutant. I didn't know you knew about this.
Yeah. He's like, he didn't. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And his mutation is he's got big Sasquatch feet.
Yeah, and he's really self-conscious about it. And
which, by the way, the only reason,
what a dork.
Yeah, the only reason that makes sense for him to go through all this trouble to take away that mutation is it's got to put those feet in normal human shoes.
It's got
to fucking kill.
Well, that almost works because in the comics he didn't wear shoes because they were just so big. I'm fine with that, I guess. Like, he's just miserable. He's just uncomfortable all the time. But no, he's like, they'll never accept me because my feet look like hands. And I'm like, a lot of people's feet look like hands, man. Like,
yeah, fucking calm down, dude. You can
chill out. Like, you could literally cover them with like Uggs and you'd be fine.
I am kind of bummed. I guess I get it because we get full Beast later, and it's spoiler. It doesn't look great. No. But I am kind of bummed that it is just my feet big. I wish it was more like original X-Men #1. Like, I'm kind of built like a gorilla. Like, I'm not full hairy cat beast, but like his body
he's big.
Different.
He's big. He's bestial. Like it. I like that. I like that idea a lot. I also like the idea of going the other way, where it's like it's about body dysmorphia. It's about like low self-esteem. Like, you look like Nicholas Hoult. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
But like, he doesn't think that, you know what I mean? It's like, it's like all the beautiful people that you knew in high school who all had eating disorders, and you're like, what are you doing? And it's like, it's not a logic thing, you know?
Yeah. That's a good point. So anyway, he's all butthurt about his feet. So back to Shaw, he reveals to Emma that he has this stupid looking comic accurate Magneto helmet made by the Russians, and he makes Emma grab him ice. This is a reveal that they're in the Antarctic or whatever, far away from everything they need to be accomplishing. I guess they're heading to Russia. That's what we're leading to. They're heading to Russia.
Yeah.
Hank talks to Raven about feeling different, which again, I want you to understand what's happening in this scene. Nicholas Hoult is talking to Jennifer Lawrence about not feeling good about their bodies. This is what's happening in this scene.
Yeah, it's a choice.
Yeah. It really it makes me think of that scene in Barbie. Sal, have you seen Barbie?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's fucking fantastic. And props to Greta Gerwig for having the presence of mind to acknowledge this. There's a scene, and it's a really good scene. And Margot Robbie fucking kills it, where she's like, "I'm not beautiful." Like she's feeling really insecure. And Helen Mirren, the narrator, comes in like, "Note to producers: it's really hard to have Margot Robbie deliver this line and have the audience buy it." And it's like, I mean, yeah, man, like you're not fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's a testament to their acting.
Yeah, it is a kind of a pet. We love genre fiction writers love to have beautiful white people being the other, and it's like, or maybe just have a black person that you don't kill off. Or something, man. Like fucking.
Well, not in this movie, baby.
Yeah, somebody that's differently abled, somebody with like that's fucking first season of Strange New Worlds had a blind actor playing a blind character. That's something, my dudes. Anyway. So they're talking about looking different. He's trying to figure out a way to fix it. We're going to have to cover a lot of ground in the movie here to justify some of these things. And he also says he's trying to figure out a way to make them look normal, but still have their powers. And it's like, my dude, I don't think you're going to be able to hang upside down from things if your feet are normal. I think the feet. That's the thing. That's what makes it.
That's your mutation is your physical transformation. What do you think your mutation is?
Yeah, it's not like like Nightcrawler. It's like maybe you could still teleport without looking like a blue devil. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes, maybe.
But also with Mystique, why does she even? You can look like a person. It doesn't. You don't need to change shit, man. And also, again, I can't stress this enough. Your blue form is also hot.
Yeah, I know. It bears repeating because it's like it is the point.
Anyway, so Eric interrupts. Eric's the best character in this movie, man.
Easily, he's just so endlessly watchable. I'm so in. Yeah.
I also think there's an argument to be made. People can argue who the best character is in this franchise, who their favorite is. Obviously, Wolverine. This franchise exists because of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, but
yes,
I think there's a really good whether it's Michael Fassbender or why did I just fucking blanked?
James McAvoy?
No, in Magneto. Fucking Gandalf. My God,
Ian McKellen.
Yeah. Oh my God. Sorry, everybody. I'm a little spacey today.
It's okay.
Whoever's playing the Magneto is definitely the most interesting and the most complex, I think, of all the characters in this X-Men franchise and in these movies.
They're also given the opportunity to be cool.
The Magnetos,
like the most. Yeah, the Magnetos always get to be cool.
You know something I love about, and I credit to this franchise because I think it'd be real easy to forget. I think the comics forget a lot, especially in the Krakoa era. But the movies never seem to, is that as relatable as Magneto is, as harrowing as his backstory is, they never, and we'll get to it when we get to the end of this movie, they never shy away from the fact that like he let those bad things turn him into a bad person.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
He pretends like they are an indemnification, like they are a hall pass.
Yeah.
To be a monster. And it's like, no.
Yeah. Like, and this movie really gets into it. Like, Magneto's a fascist. He's become a fascist. And it's like, that's actually, for a big summer blockbuster superhero movie, that's actually a pretty complex idea.
Yeah.
That props to this movie for not losing that thread. We'll get to it.
Completely.
So Charles and Eric, the Magneto trend, he comes, I started that Magneto fucking tangent because he walks in on Raven and Hank, and it's like, he says what we're all thinking, like, Raven, you're good. You're fine the way you are. Fucking chill about it.
Exactly.
So Charles convinces Eric. Eric wants to leave. He convinces him to stay. Oliver Platt reveals this radar dish that the way he said it implied to me that they just had it lying. Like, we have a mind reading radar dish over there that you can now use. And it's like, I'm sorry, time out. What?
Right. No, it's terrible. It's just like we needed a radar dish because we want that, because we need that great scene where he moves it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay.
And although it would have been a different because that radar dish is at it's different because the radar array the Cerebro gets destroyed.
Oh, that's right. It's a completely different thing. Yeah. Okay.
So they're going to basically they've created a proto Cerebro. They're going to start recruiting.
Yes.
So first up, we get Zoe Kravitz in a strip club, and her ability is she has bug wings and spits venom. And it's at this moment I was like, "What are your recruiting protocols? Why?
Yeah.
Why are you?
What made you think to start there?
Yeah. Why is this? Listen, on the one hand, I get it. If I could recruit Zoe Kravitz on a team,
Yeah,
I would just have her around.
Right, of course.
But
what value does she provide?
Yeah, on practical terms, what do we bring into the table here?
Yeah.
So then we get Mr. Terrific, who is a cab driver. We will learn what this character's name is. The once and future Mr. Terrific, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then we get MacGyver, who prefers solitary confinement. And then, sorry guys, there's not a really good joke about the actor that plays another role that the actor who plays Banshee.
Nope.
Does. He's a very great actor, but he tends to choose like A24 movies, not other big. Caleb Landry Jones. He's really good.
Yeah.
He was in the Florida Project. He's a good actor. But anyway, Banshee, who fucks up, he like does some like sonar shit and fucks up a bunch of shit in an aquarium for seemingly no reason. I was like,
for no reason. Yeah.
Don't fuck with the fish.
Yeah.
And then we get one of the most popular gags of the movie. They go to recruit Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and he tells them to go fuck themselves.
Yes.
The end.
Genius. Great moment. Everyone loved it. I remember reading maybe it was a tweet back when those were a thing. And somebody said something like it was a comic book creator, and they were like, my son saw X-Men First Class, and the only thing he remembered about it was that Wolverine said the F word.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that is the most damning and accurate review of X-Men First Class I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
And it still holds up. Wolverine said the F word. That shit's beyond the poster.
Yeah, exactly.
Because and I'm like, for a minute, I'm like, it's funny because this movie is fun.
Yeah.
But I'm not having a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I recognize that it is made competently. I know, like, Matthew Vaughn has wanted to make an X-Men movie forever, and I'm like, and you made this one? Like, not that it's bad, but like, and you got the garbage bag full of mutants and a bunch of nonsense. Like, and you have two other movies slapped together, and then Wolverine shows up for 2 seconds and reminds you that you could be watching an X-Men 4. And you're like, damn it. Like, it works, but it's also frustrating.
Yeah. So Eric presents some legitimate concerns about the whole operation. We get a sequence where everybody shows all their powers, and they are as follows. Darwin has ultimate adaptability, which we'll get into issues people have with that later, but also we need to acknowledge that power is stupid. It makes no sense. How does his body know? Whatever. It doesn't matter.
100%.
That actor's great, though. Nothing against that actor.
No, he's great.
Banshee can blow up windows with a whistle. Angel, who is confusingly named, the lady with the bug wings is named Angel, confusing, and shoots acid. And Alex, I like Havoc in the comics. His powers look kind of stupid here, in my opinion.
They look terrible here, and I don't think Havoc translates because, like, the best Havoc costume in the Cockrum suit with the things, and it's all black. I love it. I no notes for his insane Havoc costume. And it's and I fully accept that it is possible to render in reality. And they didn't even try to make a Havoc costume.
No. And I will say, they tried the little dish on the chest. I will say I like it whenever an artist. And here's the thing: when I say I like Havoc, I mean Havoc has potential. I don't know that we've ever cracked it.
No,
but like the core, like what if Cyclops but edgier? Ooh, there's something there.
Yeah.
And one day we'll crack it, and it'll be great. But I like it when they take. Because it gets we've been over this. I'm a 90s. I was born in the 80s, but I'm a 90s kid.
Totally.
I like the X Factor Havoc costume.
Blue
I like
jacket, big hair.
I like it when you try to combine that with the Cochrane suit where that like orb is always kind of moving around.
Totally.
Feel like again, one of these days we'll fucking crack Havoc. All right. And it'll be great and we'll all love it. And suddenly Havoc will be our favorite characters. But until then, this is what we're getting.
I think we have cracked Havoc if you want an edgier Cyclops, it's just Cyclops now. And so
True.
we've done it. We've cracked Havoc. It's
But
just
that
Cyclops.
that Cyclops bums me out. I don't like
Me
that.
too. No, trust me. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Havoc.
so whatever. But he's he's kind of the jock in this.
Also,
whatever.
like, what's the age difference? It's
Dude, I kind of thought originally that we were going to do, because at this point when we're watching this movie, I'm like, we're never going to fucking do the Starjammers. That's never going to fucking happen. And of course, that ended up being true, although it became more likely once Guardians of the Galaxy was a thing. Yeah, right. So, but at this time, I was like, there's no fucking way we're ever going to do Starjammers, and I thought we were going to switch it up, like Havoc is Cyclops' dad. And I was like, that's fine. Nobody gives enough of a shit about Havoc to be like, no, he's got to be Cyclops' brother. Like, who gives a shit?
Nope.
They didn't do that, and I still feel like they should have.
Yeah, well, especially because they didn't do anything with him. Like, they don't do anything with him the whole movie, and then in the next movie, they killed him off screen.
Yeah.
Along with everybody else, but still, like, what the hell?
He gets he dies in an apocalypse, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll get
right.
there.
He dies in Apocalypse.
Ourselves. We're gonna head
about that one. Yeah.
And it's a bummer too. This just grab bag of mutants. Like, Banshee has been around for a while, but like nobody cares about Banshee.
No.
Havoc, again, I feel like you could do something with. It's just too much. It's just too. And I don't know. I rewatched last night the new Dungeons and Dragons movie. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've saw it in theaters. It was fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it does a really good job of being like, here's this character, here's their personality. Here's this character, here's this personality. And it made me think, because I watched these movies basically back to back.
Yeah.
And I wonder if one of the struggles the X-Men franchise has is they think the power is enough to differentiate a character, and so they forget to give them a personality.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, this is the screaming guy. Yeah, but like, what does he want? Like, what are his want? Like, what, you know what I mean? It's
right, but why should I care? And they're like, fuck you.
Yeah, I think it's one of two things. I think it's either that these movies are built around team of good guys, team of bad guys, and at that point, it's just there's so many fucking characters that you're going to cut corners.
Big time.
Or, and maybe it's not either or, maybe it's both. What I was just saying, where it's like they'll expect the audience to go screaming guy, laser guy, bug wing girl.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but again, I don't give a fuck about Dungeons and Dragons as a franchise. And that movie made me care about all the people in that group, because I knew what they wanted. And
I knew who they were. That's right. That's right.
And it's not, and again, whenever I praise that movie, it's not because it's doing something complex or reinventing the wheel. It's just doing what it needs to do effectively.
Yes.
That's it.
They are what a stupid action movie used to be.
Yeah.
That's what Dungeons and Dragons is. Like, and
you can feel them in every scene, like, okay, how do we make the action scene inventive? Or what's the joke here? Or what makes this scene special? Why does this scene need to be in the movie? You know what I mean? Like, why?
What is it doing? How is it surfacing either the story or characters? It's got to do one or the other.
Anyway, whatever. And so it's, as much as I like certain aspects of this movie, it almost makes me wonder, like, did it need an X-Men? Does it need the team? Like, because I don't really care about any of them.
I agree. I feel like if you don't make it X-Men, like if you don't do that, no one's coming. It's got to be X-Men. This could have been called X Factor. That would have been fun.
Yeah. We're still waiting on an X Factor or anything. There's a few options. You got the government team, you got the detective team.
I've got a quad poster of each one of X Factor, X Force, Excalibur, X-Men. Those are your 4 movies. Yep. And then don't do Avengers vs. X-Men. The next one you do like Executioner Song or Age of Apocalypse, something like that. Bring them all together.
Dude, man, all the different, those 90s, all the different like fucking squads. Anyway.
Yeah. Generation X. That's the show.
That's a TV show. That's your CW Who's Making Out with Who show.
Yeah.
Okay, so Eric's like, these kids aren't ready, and so they go on a mission to Russia. That's just Charles, Moira, and Eric. Shaw isn't there. Emma Frost is meeting with General. Shaw's not there. Eric flips out. Another great Eric scene where he's like tying up Russian soldiers with barbed wire, and he's like fucking deflecting bullets and shit, and he's doing all this fucking cool shit.
Yep.
Completely blowing the mission, but it's fucking cool as shit.
Yep.
And he interrogates Emma by almost like she's in her crystal form and almost cracks her throat, which I guess heals when she's normal, but would still be cracked. Whatever, doesn't matter.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm going to be honest with you. listen. I
Wasn't
know
those
it's a Grant Morrison edition, and I love Grant Morrison, but I think Emma Frost's Diamond Form's stupid.
I don't like it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this was a big whoopsie poops on the part of Charles and Eric, because while they're doing this, Shaw is keen to the fact of what their heroes are planning, and this is listen, the way this scene ends, a lot of people hate, justifiably so. But what you forget is everything leading up to this. It's like, you just made your villains very credible threats, man, because you've got Azazel, who's basically evil Nightcrawler, red Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Teleport. This is actually executed really effectively, in my opinion, because people keep hearing this sound. They're like, "What the fuck is this sound?" And once you realize the sound is Azazel grabbing CIA guys and teleporting them above the building and just dropping them, and they fall to their death. And you're like, "Oh my fucking god,
that's pretty scary." Yeah.
And then Wind Guy does Wind, and he blows over Cerebro. He's never threatening. Sorry, Wind Guy, you're the least threatening of this team.
Agreed.
And Shaw is just absorbing bullets and everything and blowing people up and just wrecking house.
Yeah.
Our heroes try to escape. No go. And Shaw offers them a choice to join him. And Angel decides to join Shaw. And then for some stupid reason, Alex was like, we got to do something. And I'm like, why, bro? Fucking just let it. Clearly, we're out. Let's just let this play out, man.
I think he wants to bang Zoe Kravitz, which I understand.
I get it. I get the instinct. But if she wants to go with Shaw, man, that's her choice. Autonomy. You got to let her do her thing.
Right. Yeah.
So Darwin, we get one brief glimpse of the fact that Darwin would probably be the leader of this team if he survived the sequel.
Yeah.
And he decides he's going to do something. And basically, Shaw takes energy from Havoc and puts it inside Darwin.
Yeah.
And blows him up. And a lot of people hate this scene.
Yes.
Because the reason I hear brought up, it's like, he's the one guy that can't die. Again, his power's silly, and he puts a bomb inside of him. I guess maybe that's fine. That's whatever. I don't care about that. Technically, by the way, Shaw should be unkillable too, and we kill him as well.
Right.
Here's the problem, and I bring this up just because it surprises me that people don't bring it up more.
Yeah.
It's the one black guy. I don't give a fuck about the fact that Darwin's abilities should make him invulnerable. This is a great way to, again, I think, show you've introduced one guy in your team that's supposed to be unkillable. Your bad guy kills him. Uh-oh, what are we going to do? It's that we introduced two characters of color in this movie.
Right.
One of them dies. One of them joins the bad guys.
Exactly. I think that's horseshit. I think that sucks.
And this is 2011, man. This isn't like 1980s slasher movie where the black guy dies first. Like, what? Does that not even occur to you? Like, I feel like at a script stage, you'd be like, well, we can't kill the one black guy, right? That has to be a line that we shouldn't. It's a trope.
I tell
People
you, man,
will laugh at us.
I think the chandelier swinging Hollywood ghoul showed up and he's like, he swings in and he goes, if the black guy doesn't die, he might be a leader, and we can't have that. What'll he do in this movie? Swing away.
And I feel so bad for because the guy that plays Darwin, is aware of. He's like fucking
very aware. He took the role because he's like, all right, I'm gonna be Darwin. That's cool. I'm gonna be in this franchise. I'm representing. That's nice.
Yeah. No, sorry, guy. Not only going to introduce you with the ultimate unkillable power, but also and the death of Darwin is so insane.
Yeah.
That it sucks the oxygen away from the fact that Zoe Kravitz, the other actor of color in this movie, one of two, joins the bad guy. I guess.
It almost overshadows it. They cancel each other out, so it's like you'll forget that both of them were in the movie at all.
God damn it! Zoe Kravitz is real good in the Batman.
Yes.
Just throwing that out there. Real good in the Batman. Like her a lot.
I like the Batman a lot. Yeah.
She did a Steven Soderbergh movie, Kimmy. She's really good in that as well.
Oh, cool.
Anyway. So Eric, they come back, and Eric, who didn't want these kids to be around to begin with, is now like, no, they're ready.
They better be.
He's like, we can avenge Darwin. I'm like, different franchise, my guy. We're not avenging. We don't avenge people. And this, we X them and this. So our remaining honkies regroup at Professor X's mansion. It's because the CIA is not safe, but his house will be.
Yeah, it's
Shaw's
just related
running
by
around.
money.
Yeah, exactly. Shaw's out there escalating the Cuban Missile Crisis. And by the way, I think Matthew Vaughn, I have issues with some of his storytelling instincts that became the more the Kingsman franchise went on, the more obvious they became. But even I do think he's pretty effective at showing how bureaucratic stupidity escalates situations. Even the worst Kingsman movie, which might be one of the worst movies I've ever seen, The Kingsman, the third one.
Oh, The Kingsman. Yeah, I stopped seeing them after the first one.
Thank God. It's fucking awful. It's awful.
Yeah.
But one thing it does do well, because it's set in World War One, is showing like, hey, y'all, did you know this? Did you know that all these guys starting World War One were related? Look at how stupid these fuckers are. That aspect of it does a good job of like you can see some of that DNA here of like, look at all these fucking dipshits.
Yeah.
Getting the thermonuclear war just because of their fucking egos. Like
exactly. No, it's fair. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know if Matthew Vaughn is a really good filmmaker. Stardust isn't great. This movie is fine. Kingsman isn't fantastic.
Shit, Layer Cake's good, but good.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah, that's the first movie he ever made.
Wait a second. His collaboration, maybe it's one of these numbers. Guy Ritchie and Matthew Vaughn together, great. Either separately, not so good.
Not so good. Yeah.
Not so good.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think we landed on something.
Cracked it. All right.
Maybe you two should keep working together.
Yeah.
Making slightly dated British crime thrillers. They're still wildly entertaining.
Agreed.
Just problematic.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so I really like the sequence, Sal. Charles, Professor's out. This is where, because you pointed out, Charles is naive. To be kind, he's very naive in this movie, and this is Charles's moment to shine, because now it's like full on professor mode. I got to put these kids into shape. I got to work through all their little hangups and bullshit. Right. And we see him like teach and like try and get to the core of like, what are your issues here? How are we going to get past them? And it's tons of credit to James McAvoy, who's fucking fantastic in general and fantastic here.
Yes.
It's a really good. It's like, oh, this is why we love Professor X. Where's this Professor X been? We talked about asshole Cyclops. I'm tired of asshole Professor X. I want this guy back.
I'm so done with it. Yeah, agreed.
I want the one that like mentors people and helps them figure their shit out.
He genuinely cares about your problems. He's not manipulating you into becoming a soldier.
Yeah, exactly. And so the one little hang up here is, I guess we established that Hank's big old feet help him run faster. I'm not sure that's how feet work, but
yeah. Otherwise, gorillas would be the fastest thing on the planet.
Exactly. It's like, actually, would those feet even be effective at running?
I doubt it. Yeah, gorillas would just be these pinwheels of death. They're just they're just rolling ever faster like cheetahs. It'd be
That would be incredible and terrifying.
Just a legion of gorillas come out of the mist, rolling at you. That's dope.
Oh my god. Make that movie, greenlight that movie, Hollywood. Wait, we're on strike. Don't do that yet. But the second we're off strike, fucking greenlight that shit. Hank makes his wait, I'm skipping. Oh, so and he even helps Eric. And I do think the movie does a good job of establishing their friendship. A lot of times we can struggle like we don't like each other at the beginning of the movie, but at the end of the movie, we're family. I think this movie does a good job of like establishing why these two characters like each other, and he helps Eric by saying, I believe true focus lies somewhere between rage and serenity, which doesn't what the fuck does that mean?
I have no it just sounds nice.
It sounds nice. I feel like if I were to do a rewrite, if I were to do a pass, I think I'd adjust to be like him say something. I think for you, focus might lie between, because I don't know that most of us are struggling with like, Eric's source of rage is unique, is what I'm getting at.
Yes, not everyone has been through his situation, which he will be quick to remind you of in every other movie he's in.
Yeah. So, and I just think, and also the point between rage and serenity is just like normal.
Yeah.
If you want to truly focus, just be normal. Just be like flatline. Yeah. Anyway, whatever, it helps him, and he's able to move the satellite dish that I guess is there's a massive satellite dish that is just off Charles's property. It's weird.
Yeah. I don't understand.
Does this family, is that how they made their money? Do they own like a media company, or is it the fucking Murdochs? Is that what the Xaviers are?
Yeah, it's the
Um,
MTV News satellite.
yeah. So Hank makes his mutant cure. Raven doesn't want it.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. And Hank takes the formula. It does not go great for him,
as you can imagine. If
Yeah,
you've ever known the character, you know.
does not go great. Charles and Eric have one of their classic, we're playing chess, but we're also debating the philosophy of what we're doing. This is going to be the core of our relationship moving forward.
Yeah.
Eric gave Raven this advice, like she's like bench pressing, and he's like, if you're half focused on being in this shape, you're not focused on what you're doing. You should be you more often. And so she shows up in his room, and this is get one of the scenes. It's like, maybe when you're older, it's like, wait, how young are we supposed to understand Mystique is?
I know. Yeah.
What's your age relationship to these other men, and should I feel uncomfortable about it?
I mean, they definitely want you to be uncomfortable in that scene.
Cool. That's great. Love it when that happens. This is where you get the meme where he's like, I want to see the real Raven. No, the real Raven.
Oh, yeah, the meme.
Yeah. Which, weirdly enough, Michael Fassbender's been in enough movies that have been memed that I forgot that meme comes from this movie.
But they're doing it.
Yeah. Oh my God, the meme's happening. Point the screen.
Exactly.
Other meme.
Yeah, it's another meme.
It's meme Ouroboros. This is also where we get like a nice little Rebecca Romijn cameo. Man, was this the last time we were able to get cameos like this without them being spoiled ahead of time?
Right? I mean, at this point, would that really have been like? Would that have been a trailer moment?
No, but I'm just talking about. I guess because this is
like
before
Rebecca Romijn has been spotted on set.
Yeah, but I guess so. But it's just one of those. I remember being surprised by both Hugh Jackman and Rebecca Romijn.
Me too.
I haven't since
ever again. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
So basically, not only does Eric convince Raven to like be herself, but like to walk around naked, and it's like, well, she could still wear clothes. I mean, and I get it. We're supposed to understand that like clothes is even her skin adapting, but you can then use your power to at least fake clothes. Whatever.
Yeah, and that's like another hallmark of like the issue I have with this movie, which is like, let's explain the origins of everything. Like the helmet and Cerebro and the costumes and Mystique's like clothing and her relationship with Magneto and like, you know, where Nightcrawler is going to come from and then not be in any more movies after that. Like, you know, every single element, like who's Moira McTaggart? Why was she in that one scene in X-Men 3 that sucks? Well, here she is, and she's a different actor, and she doesn't have an accent anymore, and she's not from Scotland. Like, what is this? And why are you trying so hard to explain? If you got out of your way and stopped explaining to me how things happened, you might be able to just tell an interesting story.
Yeah. So, and she confronts Charles after this.
Yep.
Next morning, Hank leaves the team uniforms, and they meet him at the airfield, and he's all beasted out, and it doesn't. Props to them for being practical, but it doesn't
look good.
Yeah,
but it looks better than 2011 full body fur CG character. Like he looks like a werewolf. They wanted to go werewolf with it, and I think this might have been a good opportunity to do. Maybe it's tricky, but I think about like Planet of the Apes. Yeah.
Like maybe you go that level because again, and I think of that you just because the body movement. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about Beast, and we've never quite gotten it.
Nope.
And it's like, yeah, maybe I obviously practical over CG, but maybe Beast is one of those characters that it's like fudge it a little bit. Maybe try and do both. I just don't. It doesn't look great here. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. He looks disproportionate.
Yeah. This is where we're building up to the Cuban Missile Crisis. We got Russian ships, we got U.S. ships, we got Michael Ironside. The RLC is about to cross the embargo line. All the seamen on the ship have been taken out by Azazel. The team flies over the Blackbird. And by the way, I'm no aeronautics expert. I don't think the Blackbird maneuvers like this. My understanding is that plane is so fast that its turning radius is the size of states. Like, they're doing like maneuvers and going over ships and hovering, and it's like that plane does not work that
There's
way.
Never been a plane like that.
I know
there isn't one now. Like you can't. No.
I know we called the comic in the 90s, we call that ship the Blackbird. It's shaped like the Blackbird, but that's not how that plane works.
No.
Anyway, so so they're flying around. Charles gets in the head of one of the Russians. They blow up the Aral Sea because I guess everybody's dead on there anyway. They don't know where Shaw's sub is. Banshee uses his Banshee powers to use radar to find Shaw, because I guess that's part of it for him. He can hear this bounce back, whatever. Rah! Eric, because this was his big lesson about lifting bigger things, so he lifts the sub out of the sea. One guy makes them crash. Eric does this really cool little small maneuvers, the plane's tumbling over, where he pins Charles using his magnet powers to like brace Charles. It's great.
Yeah, it's
pretty cool. And then this is where we get our big mutant fight. At the beginning of this, one guy gets fucked over twice. He gets clocked by both. He gets beefed by both Havoc and Eric, which I like because I don't like Wind Guy particularly much.
No, it sucks.
I wonder if you could have gotten away with making it Storm.
That would have been really cool.
She starts off
very okay with
bad
that
guy, but then you'd have to then I would have been bummed that we didn't do more with Storm like the past 3 movies.
Right? But it would have been consistent with her character.
Exactly. So Banshee and Angel get in a fight where she's like, fucking, it's stupid. Both these.
Yep.
Banshee's not my favorite X character. Sorry, everybody.
No.
And it's just like, this is dumb. This is a dumb sequence.
It's a dumb fight. It's silly. Banshee was the coolest Banshee's ever been was when he was co-running the school in Massachusetts with Emma.
Generation X. Yeah, that's the only time. Yeah, you're 100% right. There's also a dumb sequence in here where he has to catch Havoc.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, there's the extra weight.
I know.
That's not how things work, my guy.
I remember everybody laughing.
Yeah.
And criticizing his powers after that movie came out, where they were like, just him like, it doesn't work. It's silly.
It's silly. Mystique helps Beast fight Azazel by pretending to be Shaw with Shaw's helmet on, which she has not seen.
Yeah.
She morphs into Shaw with the helmet on, which she is not aware exists.
Yeah.
Oops. So all right. Okay. So in my notes, I did myself a favor. I got all the dumb stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
Here's what fucking works about this scene.
Yes.
While all this dumb X-Men bullshit's going on, Eric is confronting Shaw. And this is, we've got Michael Fassbender and Kevin Bacon. This movie has established this relationship. This fucking works.
Yes. Everything about the scene works.
What's supposed to be happening here is Shaw has absorbed the nuclear core of his sub because the X-Men have foiled his plan, so he's going to blow himself up like a nuke.
Yeah.
So what they need to do is Eric needs to get the helmet off of Shaw so that Charles can get into his brain. And what he does, and the core is shielded. So basically, Eric has Shaw beat him up enough that it breaks enough that once he pulls Shaw's helmet off, Charles can get in there. And then Magneto, classic Magneto, he's such a scamp. He's like, yeah, you know that original plan? Fuck that shit. Fuck that.
That's him every time. He's like, all right, I'm going to team up with you guys, and then immediately betray you.
Yeah, betray everybody, because fuck that. Earlier, Charles tries to convince Magneto not to kill Shaw for reasons that are inexplicable.
Just dumbest reason. Like, it's just like, all right,
he's not just a Nazi. He's like a fucking Holocaust Nazi. Fuck that guy. Like,
exactly.
If you get a hall pass to kill anybody, it's a fucking Holocaust Nazi, man. I am not a violent person. I do not promote violence. Fucking Holocaust Nazis. Fuck those guys.
It's a free game. They're not. Yeah. I know.
I don't, whatever your soul, who I'm sure Eric's soul is going to be fine.
Exactly.
Or not any worse than it already is.
Totally.
But what makes this work is, so he pulls the helmet off. Charles has to basically possess Shaw to freeze him. So he's in there.
Right.
And then Magneto and this is filmed, like is Matthew Vaughn that good? This moment he fucking nails because he does it entirely.
Yes.
He does it entirely visually, where we get a panning shot of the coin from earlier. Magneto uses that coin and he floats the coin through Shaw's brain. And as we pan across this happening to Shaw, we pan across Professor X. So we know, like, Charles is in there feeling this.
Yeah. Which I thought was going to make him paralyzed.
Yeah. But
that's a shame.
Yeah, it does not. It does not.
Because like original, like at least at one point in Chuck's history, he's paralyzed not because he actually is physically paralyzed, but because he thinks he's paralyzed. Like
Oh,
it's a
okay.
psychic paralysis.
Yeah.
Like I believe it's the one with the Shadow King, but I don't recall. And even
Yeah.
then, I don't think it was the Shadow King. But like that would have been really cool if it's
Yeah.
like, no, he could walk if only he could get through this like mental damage, but he can't. You know what I
Man,
mean?
that's
Like,
one of the things that's really interesting that I wonder if a movie like this could articulate well.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but I like that. But yeah, so
Because this is one of those scenes where it's like it shows doesn't tell, and
yeah,
then immediately we do a tell don't show, which I'm like, which if you were just a little bit more like discerning with the editing, it would be great because we get it later. We'll talk about it in a minute, but like
yeah,
this scene in particular is like, oh, this is great,
yeah,
nice job.
yeah. It's really and we get, and this is what I'm talking about too, where we get that understanding that as relatable as Magneto is, he's got his own problems because he tells Shaw, he's like, I actually agree with your perspective on everything.
Right.
Unfortunately, you killed my mother. So
yeah, but you killed my mom, so I'm gonna have to kill you because I am deeply unlike Charles, who like who just wants basically to beat racism.
yeah,
You know, like,
exactly.
because he's not trying to like build an army. Like he builds a group that he wants to costume up and make look like Avengers so that they can save the world enough time so that humanity will just forgive their own prejudices against them. Like that's this Charles. This Charles, like, we're gonna buy racism out because that's what I am. I'm rich as I'm rich as hell. That's how I know to fix problems. I just throw enough money or goodwill at it and it goes away.
Yeah.
And Magneto is a deeply personal, selfish person who pretends to care about his fellow mutants, but actually just wants what he wants when he wants it. Like Magneto has never, like, you know, he's like, he's helping out Charles. He seems to believe in him in a little bit, but only because he owes Charles or he believes he does. But once he's in an opportunistic position where he's like, oh, I can kill Shaw, get the hell out. I know what I'm doing to you.
Yeah.
And I don't care because I want to do. No, I'm not gonna do a U-turn. This is my favorite way to go home from here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my route.
And I think that you could the art a way you could interpret that is the hurt inside him. Like again, and I was, there's a lot to unpack here, but that idea of people needing permission or coming up with excuses to have permission to do the wrong thing, right?
Yes.
But also I think you know Magneto couldn't articulate this, but the hurt inside him is so great. He dresses up in altruistic things, but it's all just to like, it's just that anger of like, I want to hurt the world as much as the world hurt me. Like
that's right. He almost doesn't have a plan. Like he's really good at branding and marketing where he's like, we're brothers and let's do this. But you're all pawns in my game that I'm not even really strategizing.
Yeah. It's just yeah. This happens. The US and Russia are like, okay, so crazy shit's happening on the beach. Maybe we'll just blow the fucking shit out of this beach and call it a day.
Yeah.
And this is right as Magneto comes out and is like, fuck humans, am I right? And it's like, see, I'm right. And he stops the missiles. Oh man, fuck. This moment, and it's really great. This all this shit with Charles and Magneto. Because Charles tries to reach him like, hey man, all these people, they're good, decent, innocent men, that's
like, what?
That's a big
Why would you say that? First of all, you can see into their minds.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a lot of soldiers on those ships. I'm sure not all of them are good and decent, but whatever.
No.
But then he bungles it hard because he says they're just following orders.
Right.
And Magneto's like, fuck that shit.
and that's the part where I'm like, this is a great scene, and it would be made better with less is more. Show don't tell.
Yeah.
Charles says we're just following orders, and Magneto should just trust that you hired Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
And then just leave the camera on him and let his eyes sell that reaction. You don't need him to go like, I'm through following, or I'm done with that. My parents are dead because people are, he says a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't need that. You just need him to look at Charles like, oh, you never got it, you piece of shit. Like in another time, you would have been a Nazi.
Yeah. Like, and it's one of those things that like, it's one of those moments that you wonder, like, do they know how self-aware they're being about like, fucking, like U.S. soldiers just following orders isn't inherently better than any other soldier just following orders. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, yeah. I think Vaughn's definitely aware of that.
Yeah, Vaughn's movies. It's weird because especially when you get in the Kingsman world, because there is this like it's this weird tension of like anti-authority, but also just the right to gentlemen and the right to we should trust the gentlemanly class. And it's like, wait, sorry, what are you trying to communicate to me?
Right, because like he has no problem being like America maybe borderline, if not over the border fascist, but also the British. You should really trust what they're knowing.
We should trust the British gentlemen. We just need to be more gentlemanly. What the fuck are you talking about?
Now maybe he's being ironic because like the Kingsmen are anything but gentlemanly. Like they have like an air of like they're pretending to be erudite and like civilized, but then they bash people's brains in.
I'm not gonna do this, but you're making an argument to like, wait, is Vaughn pulling some Verhoeven shit with those Kingsman movies? I don't think he is, but maybe
he is.
Maybe.
Cool if he was.
Cool. It would be pretty fucking cool. Now I'm thinking of Matthew Vaughn RoboCop might not be the worst idea I've ever heard.
We did just get one of those, and
but it wasn't Matthew Vaughn. Maybe he would have gotten it. And he would have done the hyper violence. We wouldn't have missed out on that.
I will say that RoboCop movie. I don't know if you saw the bad RoboCop movie. It's that scene where he's just a head and lungs.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, I wish I remembered the movie well enough to.
Oh, it's a scene where he's like he's in the RoboCop suit and Gary Oldman for no reason is in this movie.
Yeah,
and he's like, dude, like I don't know, like I don't want to do this, and he's just like, basically he's like. You don't really you think you're in a costume.
Yeah.
And he like turns it all off and like it all comes off of him and it's like he's lungs and a throat attached to a head. He's like that's not even my brain in there. They're like we had to build most of it.
Yeah.
And he's like I am not alive.
Yeah.
Like it's a great
now I'm remembering and it's like and then also there was that there's another scene in there that was like, it was pretty good. The problem with the RoboCop movie wasn't that it was like bad. It just was nothing. It was just like, okay.
It was Verhoeven was making RoboCop and he wasn't thinking about franchise. He was just like, oh, this would be cool.
Yeah.
And funny. And I'll make fun of America and like genius. Good.
Yeah.
But RoboCop, the new movie, they were like, let's make it like, we can't forget it's a satire and a franchise.
Yeah, exactly. Competing interests, because I don't know that those two taste great together.
Exactly.
So Magneto, and then we get a pretty cool fight here in that Charles is fighting Magneto, which by the way should be pretty one-sided. Magneto's been fighting Nazis for years.
Come on,
but he's distracted. He's trying to send these missiles while Charles is punching him in the face.
Your friends like just rolling around on the dirt in the sand, being mad at each other.
And then so they're fighting. Moira comes out, tries to shoot at Magneto. He deflects bullets, and one of them hits Charles in the spine. And this is where we get another like, oh, you know what? This movie's kind of on top of stuff because, again, with Magneto, because he immediately blames Moira. This is your fault. And it's like, and Charles correctly is like, my guy.
No. Like, yeah. I mean, on one hand, I just rewatched this obviously recently. And so I was thinking about this in that scene where I'm like, but Magneto is quick to blame mutants for everything, even when it's his fault.
Yeah.
But Charles is quick to blame mutants for anything, even if it's humans' fault.
Yeah.
Because like Moira's just trying to shoot Magneto. Like, we work together for she's like blah 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 blah. She's shooting at him, and he's clearly easily deflecting them. Like, maybe after the third bullet, you might want to stop.
maybe try a different strategy.
Right. And so like they're both wrong and right.
Yeah.
But like, and that's the moment where they cut to friggin' Fassbender's eyes, and you can see when he like looks at him, he's like, "It's your fault." He starts to cry, and there's no dialogue, and I'm like, "That's the scene."
Yeah.
That's why you hire these people.
So, Mystique and the rest of Shaw's crew end up going with Magneto, joining his side. The rest head back to the X Mansion, where Moira awkwardly plants the seed for the name X-Men. And Charles wipes her memories of everything because they need to be secret. And this leads to one last misogynist joke at the CIA. And then Magneto breaks out Emma from the facility with his helmet looking even stupider. I'm sorry, guys. I know it's comic accurate.
Everything about it looks terrible. He looks like he's standing, like he looks like they put his head on like a cardboard body.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's one of those, like, if you want that helmet to work, you need to commit to the whole, like,
needs to be
whole
like
costume with the metal neck brace thing, the whole. You just need to, if you're going whole hog, you need to fucking commit.
100%. That's like he's wearing like a weird tunic and a cape, but like pants and like silly gloves.
Yeah,
it doesn't work. And
it's
I know
like
that they were like so proud of themselves.
Yeah, it was like a more colorful version of the costume Ian McKellen wore.
Yes.
But then with that helmet, which doesn't really, it just doesn't mesh. No post-credit scene. That's how we end.
Oh, there's a post-credit scene.
What is the post-credit scene?
Yeah, it's
Did I miss it? I fast forward.
It's with her. It's with what's her name? It's with Moira. Oh, I thought Magneto, the reveal was the post-credit scene.
No, that's right. That's how we lead into the credits.
Oh.
Boom. Boom. And that's
right.
And we're off to the races. The credits, the end. So this is where we go into X Factor. We always fit analysis into when we're talking about it, even though we've got a section for it.
It's true.
But just a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. The film, there was originally going to be a prequel film written by Zach Penn.
Yep.
And then there was also this Magneto film written by Sheldon Turner, which of course they combined the two into this movie. We don't need to tell Sal. Sal already knows about it. He read the fucking script.
I read the script. It's good. It's better than this.
And I was reading that there was going to be a framing device with Ian McKellen, like, back when I was Magneto.
Yeah.
I was Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, I don't remember that part of it, but I do. Yeah.
Anyway, Simon Kinberg is the one that suggested doing a very, very loose adaptation of First Class.
Yep.
Basically just taking the name and the color scheme of the costumes. And both Kinberg and Schuler Donner said they wanted characters with visuals and powers that had not been seen that work well as an ensemble, even if they did not work in the comics. And it's like, yeah, but also maybe choose. It's a catch-22. Maybe choose X-Men people care about, but also they're not going to get any screen time, so maybe don't. It's just the Banshee and Angel of it all. It's like, these two. Why are these two on your team? Anyway.
I don't know.
Singer was going to direct, but he dropped out to do 2010's Jack the Giant Killer. Do you remember Jack the Giant Killer, Sal?
Only by name now. Only literally when you mentioned it just now. And that's fine. They should have just and I don't know. I think back then when this movie came out, people were like, "Oh, cool. Well, Matthew Vaughn is now the new Bryan Singer of this franchise."
Yeah.
And people were like, "No."
Bryan Singer specifically was like, "Nope, I'm going back to the."
Nope, my Superman movie did not work out. I'm back.
Yeah. Superman and Jack the Giant Killer didn't work out. I got to go back to safe.
Back to the well.
Yeah, to home base.
You can't make Usual Suspects 2, so I guess I'll do this.
Yeah. So originally there was going to be a love triangle between Charles, Eric, and Moira, which was cut. Also. Sunspot was going to be in it, but the director felt that they didn't have enough time and money to make the character work.
They didn't.
But I'm just going to listen, man. I'm just going to say, maybe cut Havoc and give us a Sunspot, so we have one good guy that isn't one of the whitest people in the world.
I agree. Yeah.
Also, I love Sunspot. Big Sunspot fan.
Sunspot's cool. He looks great. I would love to see more of that.
And still waiting for a movie to really give me some Sunspot. I know he's in New Mutants. I'm saying a good Sunspot is what
I liked him in New Mutants, but I hear what you're saying.
He's fine, man. It's just that movie's fine. It's not the worst.
It's fine. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's not even the worst superhero movie I've ever seen. It's not even the worst X-Men movie I've ever seen.
Exactly. Vaughn and Goldman considered including a mention of the civil rights movement, but ultimately the director felt it had enough political subplot in this movie.
We're already stealing from the Holocaust. Let's not also belittle the civil rights movement at the same time.
But the Cuban Missile Crisis is great and everything, but the civil rights movement matters to the themes of this movie.
I agree with that. That's true. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right about that.
So yeah, I think as we were talking about, I think this movie there's a lot of goofy stuff. I don't know, no shade of January Jones. I don't know that I love her spin as Emma Frost.
Yeah.
The Angel and Banshee already was, and Wind Guy. Don't know that these would have been my first choices, but especially a lot of that stuff in the final confrontation with Charles and Eric.
Mm-hmm.
James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender are both great. All the stuff they do with Eric, like all that stuff, I think really, really works. And I think definitely like this movie's already in that it is competently assembled better than something like X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Agreed.
But I think it's those scenes that make me revisit it fondly. I don't know that the movie overall works, but like the things that do work really work.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our thoughts.
That's X Factor.
That's their X Factor, everybody. So now we've combined. We used to have like new X-Men and new Mutants, and they kind of overlapped enough that it's basically like, do we think the MCU is going to take anything from this specifically?
I think we're actually closer to this than ever because it is a first class. Like this is the first group of X-Men.
Yeah.
There's a number of things I think they're definitely going to ape off of it, or at least people will presume to ape off of it. For one thing, the uniforms.
Yeah.
That being said, I did do a little research because I was like, I remember loving these uniforms, and then seeing this movie, being like, no, I don't mind them, but they're not as great as I remember them.
Yeah.
And why is that? And it's because the costume designer was Sammy Sheldon, who first made Kick-Ass costumes.
Okay.
Which I'm like, okay, well, you're making essentially. Well, she did V for Vendetta, which I'm like, you look like you're wearing a costume. Yeah. Kick-Ass, which is a parody of superhero comic books and movies.
Yeah.
And then Ant-Man.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, well, Ant-Man is like the most criticized of the costumes for the MCU, and Eternals.
Okay. All right.
Which are there.
Yeah.
I like all these suits, but but it's not like she designed the Captain America suit or the Homecoming suit. I mean, and every time I look at this picture, Fassbender's head is definitely photoshopped onto that body.
100%.
I think everyone here is fake. I think no one here, except for maybe January Jones. I don't know. But yeah, man, I like the idea, and I like the uniformity, and I like the blue and yellow. It's a great throwback, and especially in 2011, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But I think we can go. Can we go further? Yes, we can definitely go further with these suits.
Well, it's also weird because just today somebody posted that clip from X-Men Apocalypse, which we're going to get to eventually, of that everybody like that last scene where they're wearing the costumes, and it's like, I get wanted to see them in the comic accurate costumes, but I think we need to acknowledge that they don't look good in that scene, and so it's like whenever the X-Men movies try to go comic accurate, give or take a Deadpool, it doesn't look good, and so I'm hoping that we can do better.
Yes.
Moving forward with those costumes. So I think costumes are something with some of the characters that are introduced. I think the big introduced characters introduced in this one that we haven't seen in X-Men movies previous are Shaw. Technically, we've seen Emma Frost previously, but she doesn't in Wolverine, but it doesn't fucking count.
Nope.
And I guess Banshee.
Yeah.
Shit. I guess Moira. This is a big Moira one. And
it is. Yeah.
And I hesitate. A lot of people, once the Krakoa era started, assumed like, okay, this is how we do X-Men in the MCU. And it's like, yeah, but you're skipping over so much to get to this. I think the only thing I could see them taking is Moira's ability and using Rose Byrne as a bridge from this franchise to the MCU. Yeah. This Moira, this Rose Byrne Moira, I would even go like hard, like have an opening sequence that is Age of Apocalypse. People are in their Age of Apocalypse costumes. Rose Byrne's running around. Yeah. She dies. Like maybe you introduce a character like Bishop, and like so Bishop knows Moira.
Yeah.
And Bishop jumps over. Moira's died, and he runs into Moira, Rose Byrne's Moira, in the MCU.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, what's she up to? She because she resurrects. For those that haven't read Krakoa, I'm a little unclear, and I don't think it's because it's unclear. It's because I don't like it. I don't like the implication that when Moira dies, the entire universe reboots because of her.
Yeah.
I like to interpret that universe still is going, and now her consciousness is in the next one over.
That might have been like a good pitch that they threw away in the current X-Men.
I don't like that the entire universe revolves around whether this Moira has died or not. That's a little too... how do you evolve that mutation? What are we talking about? What are we doing?
I don't know. I mean, Hickman could not care less about that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But
So
I liked it when it was pitched. I like that idea. I don't know if I would like that for,
yeah.
until they kill it.
But I do think like Moira could be a bridge from. It sounds like Deadpool Multiverse Shenanigans is going to be the bridge, but I do think Moira that is the one element I would take. Like Moira shows up in the MCU universe because that's the bit is she goes the long way. She's born and ages again. Exactly. She finds the MCU's Professor X like, hey, by the way, I've been in a couple of these universes, and this is the first one with other superhumans. I have a feeling them finding out about you guys will not go great. So let's keep it on the DL. That's why we don't know about mutants yet, because Moira tipped this Professor X off, and then that's our starting point from there. That's one of the few things I think you could take from Krakoa, and you could not that it's in this movie.
That's kind of cool. I kind of dig that. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Also want to throw this out there. A lot of people were saying I'm a big Emma Frost fan. I like Emma Frost as a character a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were saying like, oh, get Vanessa Kirby to be Emma Frost. It sounds like she's going to be our Sue Storm, maybe.
Yes, I've heard that too. Yeah,
the speculation of that. So, but somebody I thought, and I think because I'm where you were at earlier, Sal. I'm thinking like Generation X Professor Emma Frost,
not like evil, sexy dominatrix.
Yeah, I'm thinking Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso. I think would be a really interesting take on Emma Frost, a kind of one that's been around a minute, is more professorial, but not as avuncular as Professor X.
Right. Yeah, no, totally. I like that. I mean, she's a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great too.
Do you think we'll see any Havoc or Banshee anytime soon in the MCU?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
I feel like safe bet. Safe bet on that one. Yeah. All right. Time to wrap this baby up. Let's land this plane. Generation X. This is where we rate them. Only 5 movies so far. So it's but this might be the first time where there's
like we can change some things up.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's it was those first 4 are pretty much a given. Yes. Let's start from the bottom.
Okay.
Of the 5 movies, and the 5 movies are X1, X2, X3, Origins, First Class.
Yes.
Starting with your lowest one, which is
lowest one's got to be X-Men Origins Wolverine. Totally. It's an embarrassment. Yeah, total embarrassment.
It's a disaster. I agree. So next lowest one, that would be number 4, I think, on our list.
Yes. It's got to be X-Men 3. Yeah. I think X-Men 3 is still the worst.
Okay, so now we're in our 3 of X's 1 and 2 in First Class.
Yep.
What's number 3 for you?
Yeah, interesting. Is this better than X-Men 1? That's really the question for me.
You know what? It is, right? That is the question.
Because X-Men 2 is still better than both of these.
Yeah, X2 is still X2.
Yep. Let's mix it up. I'm going to go, because this one is, it's got a lot going on. I think if this was released first, it might have changed the entire game for the superhero genre.
Yeah.
Instead of X-Men 1, if this was the one. But I'm still going to go with X-Men 1.
Yeah. So number 3 is X1 or X1 number 2?
I think X1, the way I'm going to go is going to be Wolverine, X-Men 3, this, X1, X2. That's
me. I'm on the same boat. I mean, because this is, listen, there's things there's scenes in this, moments in this, that are some of the best in the franchise so far.
Great.
And I think there's an argument that this might be one of the most stacked casts.
Oh, totally.
Of it. But there's still some fucking goofy shit. There's stuff that hasn't aged so great. And X1 gets the benefit of having done it first. It already did. It had the chore of doing it in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, did
a good job. Going back on it, did good. Good job.
I do like their suits in this more than the black leather.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. We still haven't, again, across the board, don't think we've cracked X costumes yet. That's something that the MCU has an opportunity to really shine in.
Yes.
But yeah, same as you. So it's lowest is X-Men Origins Wolverine, then Last Stand, then First Class, then X1, then X2. That's our ranking.
Yep.
Let us know what your ranking is in the comments. Before we go, Sal, where can the kids find you?
Well, kids, you can swing by youtube.com/comicpop and watch all kinds of conversations between me and my friends about comic books.
And the most recent one you guys did was Rogues.
Rogues with of the Flash's Rogues.
Man, I love that. It's just the idea of like, hey, you know, the Flash's villains, what if they got their own Dark Knight Returns? It's like, great.
Yeah.
Why not? Fuck it.
That's true. Yeah.
Anyway, check out Comic Pop. There will be links in the description. Again, if you want to listen to this as a podcast, you can do that. Always drop them on patreon.com/onlystupid-answers. If you're listening to the audio version of it on podcast, we do this show live at youtube.com/onlystupid-answers. Those are the way to check out all that stuff. Also, if you want to hear Sal and I talk about Spider-Man, right now we're talking about Spectacular Spider-Man over our the OSA Patreon. But we also talked about all the movies. We're getting close to the home release of Across the Spider-Verse, so maybe we'll get a chance to cover that soon.
Yeah.
And
cool.
That is it from us this week. Thank you all for joining us. Next time we'll be back. Wait, what's the next one? I think it's The Wolverine.
Wolverine? Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah, I think it is another Wolverine before we do Days of Future Past.
The Wolverine, you're right.
The Wolverine. We're in a good. We had some dark times. We're in more stable times now.
We get two more stable movies.
Yeah, two more movies that I remember liking quite a bit, but I have not revisited in a while. So we will see. So we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.